Hi everybody, we're going to do some grammar and we're going to be identifying word classes within a sentence. Now we're going to quickly recap some word classes and then we will have a go at applying that knowledge. So first of all we have nouns. This is one of our most common word classes. Common nouns are everyday things like tables, chairs, things that are common that you see quite often. Plates. We have proper nouns. Now these we need our capital letters for, and these are our names of places, people. Collective nouns. So that's when we talk about a herd of cows, a gaggle of geese, a flock of sheep, a school of fish. They're all collective nouns. And you'll notice that something might be a collective noun, like a school of fish. So school is a collective noun, but it might also be a common noun. So you'll notice lots of words can be lots of different word classes depending on how they're used. We've got things like abstract nouns. This is one of the more difficult concepts to understand sometimes. Things like anger, happiness, friendship, honesty. Those sorts of things are called abstract nouns. They're nouns because we can have them. Something like courage. You can have courage. You might hear like the phrase like you've got courage in your heart. So you can have courage, but you can't physically see it or feel it. So we also have pronouns. Now we've got he, she, they, we. Pronouns there. And then we've got relative pronouns, who, that, which, whose, and where. And each of these have their different role within a sentence. Verbs and adverbs. So verbs are our doing words, or our action words, or our being words. And they are used to describe actions. Walk, laugh, think, was, is. You remember we had things like as well. If a verb describes what you are doing or being, then an adverb describes how you are doing that verb. Also how you are doing something. Always, carefully, anywhere, slowly, terribly, cautiously. So remember, our verb is the action. The adverb, think of it as adding on to the verb or an adjective for a verb. And they describe verbs. Adjectives and adverbs. An adjective describes a noun, whereas an adverb describes a verb. The sly fox sneakily stalks the grey rabbit. So the sly fox, sly is the adjective, sneakily is our adverb, because we're describing how it's stalked. Remember, adjectives, the common thing is to say an adjective is a describing word, but a preposition can be a describing word. It describes a location. So an adjective describes a noun. An adverb is a describing word, but it describes a verb. Determiners. So a determiner is a word that determines the noun that follows it. So the most simple forms that you'll see articles, and that is like a, an, or the. So for example, if we use the word the, there is something definite there. So I want you to, if I've got a pack of pencils, and if I say pick the pencil, or if I say to you go and get the pencil in the classroom, think about it, there is a specific pencil that I want you to get. So if I say go and get a pencil, that means you can get anyone. Yeah? So that's the difference between a and an and the. Possessives. So that's when you're determining what something belongs to. So it could be my pen, your pen, his pen, her pen, its pen, like a dog, or its paw, our pen, their pen, whose pen. Yeah? Demonstrative, so that doesn't come from the word monster, it comes from the word demonstrate. Demonstrative comes from demonstrate. And it's this pen, that pen, those pens, these pens. Yeah, again, that works a little bit like a and the, one where there's something definite and something not definite. We've got numerals, so anytime you use a number to describe an amount of nouns, where there's actually a determiner, you're determining something about the noun. So is it two pens, 3 pens, 4 pens? The pen would imply one. Ordinals, so first, second, last, next. Remember, we might use these as openers, like time openers, but they're our ordinal numbers, and quantifiers. quantify as many few. That just tells you how much to get. So the main ones that you should really know are these ones. These 4 first. These ones are extra, but with particular focus on the start. But try and be confident with these 4. So we have prepositions. So one way that we can use, so the simplest way to use a preposition is to describe where things are. So we can take the words preposition and take position out of that, and that is just one way. Now we can also describe things like directions. So we are going walk towards the town and things like that. We're just going to focus, until we go into like lots of detail, we're just going to focus on our position, because that's going to be our most common use of them. Above, next to, adjacent, on top of, those sorts of things. Think about the position of something. A good way to think about this is get a tennis ball or get an object and place it, find a table, place it around the table, on the table, under the table, next to the table, in front of the table, behind the table. Yeah? Conjunctions, we do lots of work on this. Conjunctions are joining words. They connect clauses together. Now, when I was in school, we called them connectives. They are slightly different to connectives in a sense, but in a more common sense way, they're pretty much similar. So they connect clauses or phrases together. So coordinating conjunctions join 2 parts of a sentence that are equally important. I am going to the shop and I am going to buy... I'm going to the shop to buy some milk and to buy some bread. Both are equally important. I'm going to get them both. Subordinating conjunctions are a clause or a conjunction that doesn't make sense on its own. So we use things like if, since, when, although. And it's subordinate because one part of the sentence relies on the other part of the sentence for it to make sense. If I said I went to the shop to buy some milk, but I couldn't afford it. If I said I couldn't afford it, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't give me too many details. So that is subordinate to the I went to the shop to buy some milk, because that does make sense on its own. So we do lots of work on these, so you should be pretty confident with these ones. So what I want you to do is take this sentence and I want you to work out the word classes. So you might underline them in different colours and put little lines, underline the words, and then make a key to show what the colours mean. It's a nice simple way to do that. So let's have a look. The is the determiner. Tall is an adjective. Troll is a common noun. Duct is a verb. Carefully is an adverb. Under is the preposition. The is the determiner. Bridge is a common noun. You'll notice some of these come linked together. So our nouns and our determiners are linked together. And lots of the time, but not all the time, our verbs and adverbs are linked. And our adjectives and our nouns are linked. So, well done if you were able to spot all of those. Keep flicking through. You might want to flick back in the slides just to make sure you're understanding what we're talking about. That's absolutely fine to go at your own pace. So I also want to look at what a homonym is. Now, a homonym is a word that is pronounced and spelt the same way as another word with a different meaning. I showed you a version when we were doing our tenses. We had read and read. No, we didn't. Nope, scratch that. That doesn't make sense. That's not a homonym. I don't know where that came from. So we've got things like bat and bat, nail and nail, bank and bank. So it's a word that's pronounced or it's said the same and spelt the same way, but has a different meaning. So, can you identify the word classes? The Polar Express is one of my favourite films. I boarded the express train to London. I would like to express my thanks. So we are using the same word here, but in a different context, and it changes that word class. And now this is a really common assessment question in your Year 6 You'll be asked. I remember a couple of years ago, I was teaching in year 6, and in the SATs paper, because the adults can sit with some children to work through them, in the SATs paper we had, can you use the word dance as a noun and a verb? So these questions do come up. And I think the answer was they wanted to go to the dance, as in a noun, and then they wanted to dance, as in the verb to dance. So have a think about this. Back to our question, have a think about that. Okay, so here we have a proper noun, Polar Express. It's part of the name, and we can see that from the capital letter. I boarded the express train, adjective, so it's telling us how fast it's going. I would like to express my thanks is a verb. It's a little bit like say, just to show your feelings, to express something. Okay, so what we are going to do, what I want you to do is identify the word classes. This is for one chili, or the underlined words. So next to them, write out what the word class is. Next, I want you to match the word class to the description and write an example. So for example, we've got a common noun. Which of those descriptions is a common noun? So the way you might want to write, lay this out, is you might want to write common noun, then the description, and then put it as an example. And here, use the following homonyms within 2 different sentences, but each must be a different word class. Now, what does that mean? I'll give you an example. I'm going to take fly. I'm going to say, I want to fly on an aeroplane. That is a verb. The fly buzzing around me is incredibly annoying. That is a noun. I've used the same word, but I've used it as a noun and a verb. Can you use that for match, rose, spring, address, well, fly, left, and dance? So, here's some answers. Here are some answers. Come back to them. So, my car is green is an adjective. We're describing the car. Drove is a verb. It's the action. Noun is the sky, so it's the thing. Anna slept is a verb. The story seemed interesting. That's an adjective. We're describing the noun, which is the story. Let me give you some advice. Advice is the noun. 2 chilies, adjective, used to describe a noun. Common noun, used to name the general person, place, or thing. Verb, used to describe actions. Proper noun, used to name a specific person or thing. Adverb, used to describe how you are doing something. And then you can put them into, you can write an example sentence that uses each of these word classes. Well done.